Hi my loves, how's it going? How you guys doing? Welcome back to another video. It feels like a very long time since I've actually sat down and recorded something. I have been ill, it's been Eid, then I've been busy with wedding and helping my auntie move and just like bits and pieces in between. Yes, it's been a lot and I'm really looking forward to posting regularly here again. My beauty empties are so delayed, but I really wanted to share that before I had to share April empties. Spoiler alert, I'm not doing too great. But yeah, don't want to long this out anymore, so let's go right into March's beauty empties. So as always, this is the basket that I use. I use the same one all the time. I think with this one though, there's a lot more like bulky items, whereas in the past I've had a mix of like some bulky, some small, but I feel like a lot of stuff here is quite bulky, and I love recording my monthly empties because then it gives me the chance to just get these things moved out of the way, and I love to see that happen. I am doing okay in terms of using up a lot of my stash, which I think of the last like month or so I've kind of like fallen back off things, but like I'm just happy to see that things are moving out of my collection and I'm gaining back some kind of space. But yeah, I'm gonna just start off with this one. You guys constantly see this as part of my empties. It's just a cheap conditioner shampoo that I buy all the time from Superdrug. This is the brand Trichology and it's healthy scalp, healthy hair, that's what they're known for. This is an intensive scalp conditioner. It's got caffeine, lime and ginseng, and it's supposed to condition while helping to reduce dandruff. I don't know if it necessarily helps me with that, but I do know that one, it smells bloody amazing. Two, it's really helped my hair grow, and the conditioner is very nice because it makes my hair feel very soft. I tend to go through one of these per month almost, or one kind of every other month. And the shampoo I always kind of use more of because I do double cleansing to my scalp. I just feel like that's the best way to like shower my, like clean my hair, make sure that it's not just the hair, the whole hair, but also my scalp is clean. I love this. I think I'll continue to buy this because it does smell amazing. And I've got bleached hair at the end here, which can sometimes start to feel very, very dry. But I do feel like whenever I leave this in my hair for like a good couple of minutes while I'm in the shower, it really does help to soften it out again. So this is just one of those products. I also used up this Beauty of Joseon Ginseng Cleansing Oil. I wasn't really a big fan of this. I feel like if you've just used like SPF no makeup, this would work really, really well. But this didn't really help me when it came to removing any of my eye makeup, especially mascara, which was quite frustrating because no matter how much I used, it just wasn't really strong enough. I didn't even use like waterproof mascaras. I choose whatever mascara I get or buy, but it didn't really help with just like the standard mascaras either. Would I repurchase again? No. I also am not the biggest fan of a cleansing oil because I do feel like it gets a bit messy, and I'd rather just get like a cleansing balm, chuck some on my hands, make it like more like softer and like more oilier, and then just kind of get my makeup off that way, because I feel like that I have a little bit more control over, whereas oil kind of like is a very liquidy and slippery sort of formula, and I'm not the biggest fan. It was not the worst product I've tried, but definitely is not worth it on the days where I do my makeup, because I feel like I have to continuously like multiple like wash my face with this, then wash my face with cleanser a few times to then make sure that everything has been removed when it came to wearing makeup. And this also lasted me for several months. I have been trying to use it up since the start of the year, so yeah, I'm glad to see that it's finally finished. I use up a pack of wipes. I tend to keep some on hand anyway. I usually put a lot of makeup on the back of my hand and then put it on my face, especially when it comes to foundations, sometimes primers, eye primers, eye glues, stuff like that. And sometimes like a lot of the times shimmer makeup I'll apply using my fingers, especially like eyeshadow, and then it tends to kind of go everywhere, and then I feel like I'm getting everything else messy. So I always keep a pack of wipes with me. Sometimes I will use them to go ahead and just like take my makeup off at the end of the day, where I felt like it's now come to the point I'm too exhausted to do my actual skincare routine, and I'll just use this. So yeah, I kind of do have to keep this on hand all the time because I can't bother to go wash my hands every time I do like apply my makeup. This is like the easiest thing I have found. I know it's not the best, but I'm trying where I can. I use up this mini Nivea Men Energy shower gel. It's like a 3-in-1 thing, but like a shower gel. I used half of this as a shower gel, and the other half I used to actually clean my makeup beauty sponges, and I feel like it did such a good job at cleaning them that if I could, I would probably buy more of these. This was given to me by my auntie. They didn't really want them because it was like a pack of like mini travel thing. It had like makeup, but no, they had like two. One was like the ladies version, one was the men's. It had like a moisturizer, this, a lip balm, a lotion, and I think 1 or 2 other things. And I was like, do you know what, I'm just gonna take it because it works great as a shower gel, but then as I use it more and more as like a cleaner for my beauty sponges, I really loved it. It does surprisingly smell really good, but I'm obviously not gonna go ahead and repurchase this. I also used up the Trichology shampoo. Again, I've been using this for like several months now, probably close to about a year. These are just really good, cheap like shampoos that I use. I've now started to use Head and Shoulders shampoo as well, even though I swore up and down I would never do that. But this is always like my first cleanse for like shampoo, and then I use the Head and Shoulders one to just get as deep as a clean as I can, and to help with my like, I think it's psoriasis, I don't really know, but it's something, and the dandruff that comes as a result of it. But yeah, I do feel like it's working really well together, and again, this does smell really good, and it's like a cheap like shampoo, so I'm okay with like spending money on this and like having one empty each month. And I do have to wash my hair every other day just so that my scalp doesn't get really itchy or like heavily irritated. It's just like the best routine I found for myself, and I think that is probably something I will stick to. So yeah, that's why you guys see this so often, because I have to wash my hair that often. I use up a Mitchum Power Fresh roll-on deodorant. It's okay. I don't really have much to say, like it works well. I'm happy with that. I literally just gravitate to whatever roll-on I can. Sometimes it'll be this, sometimes it'll be Sure, sometimes it'll be Dove. Sometimes it'll just be whatever I can steal from my mum. So yeah, it's always kind of in that trajectory. I don't really have a specific brand that I like gravitate to or prefer using, but I do think this is a really good one. I try to use this more often in the summer because of how hot it can be and how like sweaty I can get in the summer, because my body does not deal with heat at all. Like it starts to shut down and I don't really do too well. So yeah, I try to always make sure that I keep this particular deodorant with me throughout the summer, and then the rest of the year I can kind of get away with using any sort of deodorant. I use up this random dry skin brand from Superdrug. I got this on a whim because I ran out of moisturizer a while ago, and I didn't really want to splurge or do a big shop on YesStyle because I knew if I did that at the time I would end up buying so much stuff, and I didn't really want to because I also didn't have the money to. So I walked into Superdrug and I needed something that was just like quick and hydrating, and I picked this up. I think this was maybe like between £3 to £6 or £3 to £5. It wasn't like the most expensive moisturizer, but it lasted me for a very long time and I really enjoyed it. The only thing I hate though is like digging in to use like a moisturizer. I'd rather it have been like shorter but like a bigger tub than like a taller tub. But this worked really well. I can see myself picking one up in the future. I don't necessarily need one right now though, because I have a few other moisturizers in my collection that I'm trying to get through before I do splurge on YesStyle. But this is not a bad shout at all. I also use up the Trichology Soothing Scalp Serum. I love having this around with me, especially sometimes when my scalp gets very itchy. This costs like, I think maybe £6. It's a little bit more on the pricey side, but I don't mind because I use it whenever I need to and only in the specific spots where I have to. It helps soothe the itchiness, and sometimes this is the thing that like will stop me from like making my scalp bleed from itching it that bad. Obviously I do need to go to the doctors and get it checked out, but I feel like every time I try to make an appointment it's near enough impossible to get an appointment. So things I try to do is just make sure that I wash my scalp as often as I can, always up cleansing it, and then using something like this to then help further to stop me from like feeling the urge to like scratch my scalp. And honestly I think that the hair combination I've got going on right now is doing pretty well. It's better than what it was. But yeah, one of my favorite products from that particular like brand is the Rebalancing Scalp Tonic. I feel like this has really helped. Every time I use this, it does make a difference to my scalp, and it changes the way the texture is of the dryness that's there. And I would always recommend this, if I can, to people to try this out. I tend to keep a couple of these bottles with me at hand all the time, just because I do get through these products quite often where I'm washing my hair so often as well. But I do like how it's made the texture of like that particular, like those particular spots on my scalp feel less kind of like dry. It's not necessarily scaly, but I guess that would be a way to describe it. But it's like this, it's just dryness, that's what it is. But this does really help with it. I do feel like though using acids on my scalp has been the best thing I could have done. I was previously using the Inkless one. I couldn't really feel like the biggest difference at the time, but I did realise like afterwards that the texture was getting a bit better. But yeah, I'm always going to keep these at hand because I do think these work so well. Literally, I've got another one in rotation that I'm almost done with. I think the most exciting thing for me was using up a little hair oil. It's a small product, but I do feel like it's just exciting to use one up because it helps my inventory numbers come down. I had two of these. One came in the actual like Moroccan oil collab box with Look Fantastic, but then because I spent over a certain amount of money with like on the brand, they gave me one of these for free with my order, which I wasn't complaining about at the time because it's a free product. If I'm not spending money on it, that's great. But this was not a bad product. However, I don't align with this brand for a few reasons. One of these is that it is an Israeli brand and it's labeling itself as kind of like, it's kind of giving the false pretense that this might be from Morocco and it completely isn't. So that's kind of like a sense of colonization for me. Don't really like that. Also, I'm trying to avoid buying and supporting companies that are specifically, or brands that are specifically owned or managed by Israeli either people, companies, or anything like that. I have whatever I have of these. I'm just going to use up what I have and then not repurchase it again. I wish I'd known before I'd purchased these because I would never have done that. It's not like the best thing in the world. I just use these to make sure that my hair, like after I've shampooed and whatever, my hair's dry, I always use a little bit of oil to like add on the bottom of my hair and then braid my hair. And what that just does is it makes my hair like kind of, rather than it being like all over the place, it makes the strands like kind of like blend into one and not be flying around everywhere, which I think helps keep my hair healthy. But I don't really think this particular hair oil is not adding any benefits to my hair. So I'm not really like, oh my god, it's amazing. It's really not. Like, it's just an okay hair oil. Whereas I feel like you can buy other hair oils that are a lot more reasonable, that would kind of do the same thing from so many other companies, just even in the drugstore. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my god, I recommend this because it's amazing, because it really isn't. It hasn't really done anything for my hair. It's not really stood out to me in any particular way. I'm just currently using it up because I have it in my like collection, and I don't really want to have it in my collection anymore. I just want to get it over and done with. But I just use some form of a hair oil, like a after shampoo, like after you've like cleaned your hair, like any sort of hair oil that you can leave in your hair, and all it does is just it helps smooth out my hair, and then when I braid it, it just kind of sticks together rather than cause any further damage. I am in desperate need for a haircut. I think the last time I got a cut done was either, I think it was right at the end of August of last year, so it's been a hot minute, like, so I need a haircut very, very soon. But this is literally all I'm using a hair oil for, and honestly any hair oil will do. But yeah, that was very long-winded. But yeah, you just won't really see me repurchasing anything from the brand. You'll just see me using up wherever I currently own from them. One that I was quite surprised about was this Beauty Pie Super Actives capsule. This is basically a vitamin C. I love a good vitamin C. I feel like it really does help, especially with fading like acne, pigmentation. And anytime I get acne, I always get left with pigmentation. There's just nothing I can do to stop that from happening. It's just how my skin works. But I do love vitamin C paired with sunscreen, because I feel like that is the best way for me to repair my skin. Obviously, like, using other treatments would like speed up the process a lot more, but I do feel like using oh my god, using sunscreen is a must, but then having vitamin C go along with it is just such a good pairing. But I would be mindful of vitamin C, because I have heard from many people that if you have oily skin, sometimes vitamin C does not sit well with you, or sometimes some companies that formulate it, it doesn't sit well with people's skins. So far, I've not had an issue with any particular type of vitamin C from any company that I've used, so thank God for that. But I do love using a vitamin C in my routine. I don't have any more currently, but when I can, I definitely will add this back into my routine. I loved the formula for the Medik8 one as well. I thought that was so good. But if you guys have any good other options, alternatives, whether they're like drugstore, Korean skincare, just anyway that you would highly recommend, please let me know. Surprise, surprise, we have a perfume empty. This is one of my very old perfumes. This is the Moschino Toy 2 perfume. I got this when it was on sale a very, very long time ago, and I've had it in my collection for ages, and I was always like, I don't really want to use it because it's such a beautiful bottle, and at the time I really love the smell, but a lot of my perfumes, especially the old ones, are just expiring. So I was just like, let me use up what I can, and I used it up as a body spray, a room fragrance, like I used to spray this on my bed sheets to make them smell nice. I was using this up in multiple ways, and I'm just so glad it's done, because I think I had this in my perfume project pan on TikTok for a good couple of months as well. But this is also like a big chunky bottle, like it takes up a lot of space as well. I'm just glad to see that there's another perfume finished. So yeah, again, I'm on a no-buy for like perfumes for the entire year, which I'm kind of struggling with because there's so many scents and so many perfumes that I want to buy or that I have my eye on. But I'm trying to be good, and I'm trying to save all of that for like 2026. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm just so happy that I have another perfume finally finished. So the last two products are makeup products, and I'll first talk about this Artitude lip oil. This was the scent Perfect Pomegranate. I really love this, and it did smell of pomegranates. It gave a very light, very sort of light, like reddish sort of tint. But I do feel like of the lip oil formulas I have tried, this has got to be one of my favourites. The reason I say that is because a lot of the lip oils I've tried are either really gloopy or they're very sticky, and as a lip oil it shouldn't be doing either one of those things. But this is a really good formula. This is like the old packaging. Since then she has released, like, she's repackaged these and released like 6 new scents, which eventually I will be picking up. But I have so many lip glosses, which I posted about last video, and that's my entire inventory. And you'll see that it's made up of a mix of like actual lip glosses and lip oils. There's a lot of stuff. So before I like repurchase anything new, I kind of want to use up as much of those particular products as I can. It has been very slow when it came to makeup usage. I didn't do much makeup throughout March because it was Ramadan, and then I was also sick for such a good, like a massive chunk of it in the end, that I just didn't end up doing any makeup for a long time. So yeah, but would I recommend this? Absolutely yes. Am I going to repurchase in the future? Definitely. The last product is my NARS mini bronzer in the shade Laguna. It is now completely gone. I'm really happy that I have another product out of my collection, which now leaves me with literally just 2 bronzers, and one I'm already using and I've made good progress on, and there is one other bronzer, but that's like a slightly more bigger one. That'll take me a while to get through. But I think throughout February and then like bits of March I used that, but by the time like March rolled around, I had a very small amount of this left anyway. So the week out, like for a big chunk of it while I wasn't fasting, I did my makeup for a couple of days, and then I did my makeup again for like Eid. But before then I became very sick, so in the time that I was able to, I managed to use this up, which I'm really glad about. This was just a mini product, but honestly it still lasted me a very long time. Would I repurchase it again? I'm not really sure. Like, it was a decent shade match. I just didn't like the way that this was pressed in, because it felt like it was it's had a lot of kickback. So even if I put my brush in very gently, there would be a lot of product that would like fly around. But I think that could just be because this is like a mini product and it's not as tightly pressed as the other packaged products are. So I think that is kind of mainly why this was doing that. But it wasn't like the worst sort of colour match at all. But yeah, I do have my eye on a few other different bronzers, so I'll probably end up picking those up before I go back to this. But I'm good for bronzers for a very long time. I have the two single bronzers, the Nabla and the Colourpop one. And then I have a bunch of bronzers in an actual, like, in different face palettes. Then I have eyeshadows that I can actually use as bronzers. So technically, if I don't want to, I don't have to buy a single bronzer for like a very long time. But I do have the option to purchase it after I'm done with my bronzers that I currently have. But even I feel like they will last me at least for the most part 2026. And then I can think about that. I have one particular bronzer I really want to try. And that's a YSL new one that just came out. Because the packaging just looks so luxe. But apart from that, I'm not really eyeing anything new for now, which is good. But yeah, that is now all of my March beauty empties. There wasn't that much because, like I said, like throughout March, I've kind of fallen off like doing skincare regularly. Plus being sick for most part of March didn't really help. There was a lot of stuff happening. It's been a very busy kind of couple of months, and towards the end of February as well, things sort of like started to slow down at a time. But I'm just glad I could get rid of a lot of these things because a lot of this stuff here is like on the bulkier side. So it's just nice to have these empties. April is looking very questionable. So we'll see if I have like any empties at all. But I'm looking forward to what I can show you guys in May. Because hopefully that May basket will be a massive overflowing basket. But that is everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoy this. And hopefully I can go back to like somewhat regularly posting stuff. That's if I don't get sick again. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for stopping by and I'll catch you next week. Bye.